Welcome to the War Report, everybody. We have a stacked room this time going around. The challenge has been laid. We have Jamil here. We have Justin here.
And I was supposed to be on the episode this week. Meelz strong-armed his way.
I didn't strong-arm anything. I was perfectly fine with whatever would have happened. I would have listened anyway. It didn't matter. I was just letting people know that I've really, I've been watching AEW for quite some time, waiting for my moment, waiting for the opportunity, especially since the challenges come back up. The challenge, Wednesday Night Wars, they be going, what's his name? Brian Alvarez be reading, AEW did this number, NXT did this number. Challenge doing better than both of them on Wednesday night, so it don't matter to me.
Oh God.
The challenge just beating both their heads in.
Yeah, it's just effortlessly every Wednesday. So I was just like, but I'm glad I'm here. This is new. I'm fresh. I feel good. Yeah, let's do it.
And people that have heard the A show this week, I gave Meelz the reason why I haven't had him on yet. I was waiting for Miro to do something important or something cool, and then Meelz could come on here without being judged and just sing his praises.
I feel you. I feel you on the layup. However, the odds of something cool happening relatively soon, where he's at now. We could be waiting forever for something cool to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could be waiting. They've got him in like a standby kind of feud. They got him in an entry kind of feud. So cool could happen 2 months from now, like 3 months from now. And Miro's been there since October. So it's like,
yeah,
we could be waiting forever. You might as well just have me on now. You can have me back if there's something cool.
I originally thought that since I took a week off for Thanksgiving, I didn't watch AEW last week. I just read it, and it was just like, or just watched it on YouTube, and I was just like, oh, okay, so I could come in, not completely blind when I do the episode next week. But I originally thought that since this is going to be the quote-unquote pay-per-view card, with the winter is coming and everything, I thought they were going to do Miro and Orange Cassidy. And that's when, I would have had you on. And then when I looked at it a couple days ago, it was just like, oh, it's a battle royale, and he's like front and center. And I was just like, what are you doing here?
No, he's saving him from being abused. That's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing. This is a home or something. This is a home of refuge for Miro, where he's just like, listen, we understand what you've been through. We're not going to treat you like they did over there.
We're just going to treat you
second
worse.
In battle royals multiple times. But yes, we're not going to treat you similar to that. We're going to coddle you. We're going to coddle you until it's time to give you a championship shot, and then who knows if you'll win by then.
Fuck that tank. That wasn't important. This is.
Yeah, this battle royale spot. But this is the War Report, episode 58, and we're going to be talking about AEW and NXT, and we're already kind of knee deep in it already, so let's just go into the trenches and talk about the comments about Miro and other things that Tony Khan has said.
What an interview.
Yeah.
With Tony. I looked at the cliff notes of this, and then a couple of people have clipped the audio from this interview. I mean, why would for one, I feel like he's too transparent.
Yes.
I think like I don't want to know. I don't want to know how much your TV deal is. I think that's better left up to like Forbes and other places to talk about, like, because it almost feels as though I just think that it's cool in certain ways. There's certain executives.
You don't want him. You don't feel like he should be the one to be.
No,
saying it.
Absolutely. I don't feel like Cody should be. I don't feel like anyone on that roster should be. It should be their CFO. It should be their the person that is on these investor calls.
Randy?
That.
No, she's the CFO. She's the CBO.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
But even like no one that appears on the television screen or in the who's at the shows every single week should be doing that. I think that it's just to me, I won't say unprofessional, but it screams to me as like braggadocious in a really weird way, saying like the television deal is $175 million. It's like, okay, what does that mean to us? You know,
Yeah.
like what tangibly, what does that mean to us?
And that was going to be my point, is just like, okay, this saying the number of the TV deal, what does that do for fans?
It, in a way, here's the thing, that it's like a weird dissonance between the way AEW fans perceive things and the way that they would perceive it if other companies did it. Like if ROH did it, it would be like, so what? You guys still are in really small arenas, or it'd be WWE, so it's blood money. Or if it was Impact, it'd be, you know, it would be a different thing each way forward. But with this, it's like, that's great. It's like, yeah, it's great, but what exactly does that do for you guys to know that information? What are they spending this money? What are they putting this money into? And we see a lot of what they put that money into this week.
I mean, I think just in general, what they're like, I guess what their attitude is to kind of be as transparent as possible, especially because they feel like, and I say this because I'm pretty sure Tony Khan, all right, so it's obvious, Tony Khan is a mark. At the end of the day, he's a mark who owns a wrestling company who has a ton of money. So from his standpoint, I think he's looking at this in a sort of, what would I want to know from Vince McMahon? And here's what I would, he's kind of like, it's a little bit of like throwing his dick on the table, but it's also like, if I were on the other side of this, if I were a fan, I mean, they're going to talk about it anyway, so at least they might as well hear it from the source. I'm at least thinking that's at least his mind state going into this. And that's not playing devil's advocate or anything. I'm just trying to maybe like, okay, what is it for being so transparent? Yeah, he could do it through Forbes. Yeah, he could do it through things. He probably doesn't even, I don't know whether they have the sort of
no plug.
They don't got no
plug. Bleacher Report would have been the plug.
I
mean, they could have, yeah.
They sponsor a lot of their pay-per-views, so
but it's also
they're owned by the same company, that's why.
Okay.
Right.
They're owned by AT&T.
Oh, but they also I don't even think they're thinking like that far. I don't think they're thinking in terms of a marketing level. I think they're still operating as like a ground level wrestling business with a bunch of funding.
That's a problem.
It is right now, but I feel like they're not trying to run before they walk. And I'm not trying to give them a whole bunch of credit, but I think they're trying to, at least at this standpoint, we're not trying to change the world immediately and then everything falls in their face. They're like, okay, let's take it step by step. And then eventually, probably in 5 years, they're going to have some deal with whatever and who can announce whatever and do whatever, stuff like that. But I respect it. But yeah, it's the transparency. I mean, sometimes I think it should come from another different source, especially a lot of these snarky comments you see on here. I don't know.
The last comment here, it was just like, did I get heat or did I get buzz? And it was just like, oh, you know, using wrestling slang, and it's just like, oh, come on.
Yeah, it was,
man.
And I mean, I guess we talk about that when we talk about the Sting stuff. There's the Miro comment that me and Meelz kind of lightly touched on the A show, where he said that he said Miro is going to be huge. He didn't want to wait till January to bring him in, and I'm guessing that's why he is where he is right now, because they're waiting for the next year. Which is like, y'all could have definitely waited and given him like the stars welcome, like you did Sting, like you did fucking Matt Cardona. You know, like there could have been something really important there, and it feels like that was a weird thing to say. But he said that Tony said that Miro has been abused for years and is being built back up now in AEW. He called out someone on Twitter who brought up his WrestleMania tank entrance and said that he did the tank and then they kicked him in the balls and mistreated him for years.
He sounds like a mark. He just sounds like
that's like Meelz, like that's Reddit talk.
Yeah, it's not like an owner speaking, just in general.
Like, you're on the biggest platform for wrestling on a tank. That's pretty fucking cool. And then doing something just objectively less cool, fighting over an arcade machine.
Yeah, and a Wi-Fi adapter. You know, it's like there's levels to what Miro Rusev was doing. And here's the thing, I will not disagree that he is probably the most aggrieved person that has left that company. Like, I would say that more than a Zack Ryder. I'd say that more than anyone who's left that company. What's the other guy? The guy who lost all the time.
Brody Lee.
No.
Oh, sorry.
I'd say, I mean, even more than Brody. Like, where's Brody at now?
Yeah,
you know? It's like it's like that. You see this constant thing going on with AEW, and it's like, what is going to be different about Miro? Because you did the same lip service when Brody Lee came, and
yes.
I'm like, you know, don't say that doesn't matter. I think if you're someone who's trying to be transparent, you say, I feel as though that we can provide the space and the platform for Miro to perform at his highest level here. But then it becomes, again, another swipe at another company. It's really weird.
I think whenever they bring, you know, the ex-WWE guy in and they talk about them in any shape or form, it's going to be some sort of slight at that rather than just saying, like, it's nice to have them here and it'll be, like, you know, good to work with them. And we could possibly do some great things with them going forward. Yeah. Like something as simple as sweet like that, but it's never that. And it works for the people.
Oh, he's working. He's working that audience. No doubt about it. That audience has completely worked. They have them in the palm of their hands in a way that's like they have diehards out the gate. There's no cynicism. There was no kind of, you know, largely there was a lot of people who had bought into this already, and we're just seeing this continue.
Yeah. A lot of people have turned over. I'm not going to say any names, but just to wrap this up, we're going to talk about two things. I know we're not familiar with AEW Dark at all, even though I do this show. I do not watch AEW Dark. I'm very vocal about not watching that. And
I see it on my YouTube thing. I don't actually watch it, but I see plenty of their, that guy wrestled or that gal wrestled on my YouTube thing, but I don't really click on the matches.
No, I see the thumbnail and then I see the length and I say, and I hit the X button.
I see how many matches they have on the show, and that's when I go, I am okay. I cannot sit through 12 exhibition matches between names I don't know, especially when AEW Dark, when I used to watch it originally, would be 4 matches, a lot of vignettes talking about what happened on AEW, what is to come to AEW, and giving new performers, you know, just a video package or a spotlight. Controversial now, but when Shauna was coming into AEW, she had a whole video package about, you know, wanting to quit wrestling, and then she got an AEW contract, and now she's happy to wrestle, blah, 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 this and that. I think that would work a lot more than just having all these tryout matches, which is basically what AEW is, AEW Dark is, but it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that they give them kind of free publicity, like the people who do it. Like, look at Ben Carter, who you know is NXT bound. They just announced another class. I guess we'll talk about that later. But like, you know, he's imminent in the next couple of months to be in the next class for NXT. And I just think it's odd that they do like the free publicity for these people that they have not signed, and they'll just like let them go.
And we might see a lot of that going forward, because I don't think they can truly sign all the people that show up on Dark.
Well, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna talk about all the people that they can't sign when we get to Dynamite. I'm gonna talk about the priorities. I'm gonna talk about the priorities.
Before we move on forward, I am trying to find the article that talks about all the new signees. I did forget to put it on, but I just remembered that what are they? PWG tag champs, the Rascals got Rascals. Signed.
Listen, man, PWG doesn't exist anymore.
Shout out to Ben, because I would have not known that random fact if it wasn't for him.
I knew it, and I had forgot that they were still the tag champions. I think I was there at the show that they won them at, and I still forgot. And I had realized, like, you know, they were not the champions anymore. I just thought it was kind of like weird that that's just kind of like a thing that's like hanging around. You know, it's like, yo,
PWG.
Yeah, PWG is like a weird thing that's like hanging around. Like, I'm like, bro, I don't even know if they're even gonna put on another show. It's not even going to be possible, especially in LA. Like, we're not doing anything. It's a possibility PWG could never come back.
Big yikes. But was never truly that big of a fan, but I have the article up now. So we have the Rascals and we have Alex Zane. Says that he worked for GCW, Black Label Pro, and Ring of Honor.
Mhm.
I'm not familiar with some of his work. I only checked out a little bit of GCW. If you listen to Spot Callers, of course. I'm not familiar with Black Label, and I haven't watched Ring of Honor in forever.
No need. I think Alex Zane is a great pickup for WWE. I think this class is like amazing, even right down to Jiro. I think they picked up some really great names. I'm just wondering how they integrate them, because I'm like, don't even wait to put in Zachary and I forgot his other name. Don't even wait to put the Rascals in. You know, put them in tomorrow. The tag division needs these guys, or even the cruiserweight division would really benefit from them, because like the thing that's crazy about the cruiserweight division in the E right now, it is sneaky good. It's just that they can't get anyone to watch the shows
or truly find a spot for a lot of these people, because a lot of the NXT talent just don't leave. Like there's a lot of spots that could be open that's not, because we have some people that just don't feel like they need to be on the main roster. And I don't know, that kind of like kills the purpose of NXT, I think, from my standpoint, but it is what it is. Just looking through more of these the signees, I'm not familiar with most of them. We have Ariel Howard, who used to be a WNBA player.
Yeah,
that should be nice. All right,
I took one look.
Real fine.
Real fine. I took one look.
You can't.
What's wrong with me saying how I feel?
I wasn't expecting the Undertaker drop.
Come on, man. That follows me everywhere I go now.
Oh, my Lord. I forgot. We have Russ Taylor, who worked for WXW, which has been integrated into the WWE network. I haven't checked much of it out yet, but maybe when we do a Spot Callers in the future, we can check out those, since it's readily available for us. But I
haven't watched any of those playlists yet. Any of those, like WXW versus Evolve or whatever. Like, I haven't seen any of those.
They're on my list, but I haven't looked at them. Like, I have it all queued up, but I just haven't played. I don't open the WWE network a lot. We have Jiro.
Just say his name is Jiro, bro. Jiro. Yeah, he was.
But you're offending somebody. You're offending somebody.
I can't read.
He was in Noah, Pro Wrestling Noah. I caught a couple of his matches just like off a whim, maybe like a year ago, and I thought it was really a surprise. I didn't even hear that he was a potential to be signed on WWE, so I was pleasantly surprised to see him.
And that's where I'm gonna pass that up for you. So it says that he competed for Wrestle One and all Japan Pro Wrestling. Wrestle One had to close due to the pandemic, and they terminated all contracts, and that's why they were available to be signed.
Okay.
Very unfortunate. I liked Wrestle One a lot, and I think that's about it for most of the class.
Yeah, the very, very solid class. I think they really picked up some really great guys there. The one thing that was missing was one of the Rascals members did not make it, and he's allegedly AEW bound.
Oh, I read that he's gonna still work with Impact, but hey, man.
Well,
they signed with the E. It said, "Hey, man, be good, brother."
Swim good, bro. As soon as Zachary got signed, that boy got on one knee. I'm telling you, when these boys, I'm telling you, it's engagement ring. If you don't got a girl, it's car. If you already got a car,
mama house, crib, bro.
It's house. It's like, remember when Walter got the bag? He bought his girl a car.
The car. His drip stepped up.
Audi. The Audi. He had
the Audi's crazy. I think he's married now.
Well, I thought he already was, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. Jit coming soon. That's the trajectory for Walter, bro.
Oh wow, just like Pete Dunne.
Yeah, exactly like Pete Dunne. But now we could get into NXT, talking about the show a little bit.
Every tank needs a weapon, and your team needs some heavy artillery.
Not anymore.
How'd you guys feel about the main event? I personally did not watch it because I was watching Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley.
Oh, I ended up being able to watch Dynamite early, wink wink, before NXT came on the West Coast. So Shotzi and Raquel, listen man, Raquel has such a crazy upside, and she's just part of a long list of women in NXT that have such a tremendous upside that I am so afraid that they'll go to the main roster and then lose all of that. But then again, they're doing nothing on NXT right now, so it's really scary.
Raquel is Tamina with knees. That's what she is.
Wow.
That's what she is. For some reason,
she got a cooler look. She got a cooler look.
Tamina's just old. She's just a little bit older. She'll be
wow.
cooler.
And you see,
it just is what it. But here's the thing. I don't think Raquel has a cooler look at all. I just think that she's a younger version of Tamina. Something about her I just don't trust. I just don't know what it is.
You know what it is. Stop playing.
I absolutely know what it is. Something about her I just don't trust, but she seems like a hard worker. I look at her from where she was in the Mae Young Classic, and I think she had really one of the I'm trying to remember if she was in that terrible match that was in the Mae Young Classic, that one that fell apart. I forgot.
I don't think she was.
Okay. All right. Well, I remember her in the Mae Young Classic. Somebody was, and I'm blaming them for something.
Oh my god.
But I just remember her where she's at and where she kind of is right now. It definitely is night and day. So she definitely has improved and stuff like that. But I still need a little bit more from her. A little bit more.
In this main event, it was all Shotzi. Shotzi was killing this girl. For about 25 minutes, was just straight killing her. There was a ladder out the ring spot where she hit Raquel in the face with it. There was another one where she had Raquel face down on the turnbuckle where the ladder was wedged in the corner, had Raquel's face on it, and then Shotzi does a fucking senton into it, and I'm just like, bro, Shotzi, calm down.
That's legitimately the first time I saw Shotzi was when they did the Evolve thing with the WWE thing,
and she did the tope into the chairs.
She's been killing herself since the moment I've seen her. To me, a ladder match was oh, she might die, but I think she's cool with that. At the end of the day, I think she's cool with that. But it was, from what I saw, which I looked back and forth from time to time because there were times that I was getting bored with, the Moxley Omega match, or I was getting bored with the other match.
We'll talk about.
So I was jumping back and forth. I had two screens up, and they did good. I mean, the main event it did fairly well for a very kind of low stakes ladder match, but they still did pretty well with what they had.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. I think that it's very. A lot of people ragged on this, and I was like, okay, but they were ragging on the fact that the faces got the advantage, and I was like,
the heels got the advantage on the male side,
and they've also done I think they've done the faces get the advantage before. I think the first time they did it, the faces had the advantage. I'm not mad at it because again, I feel as though they do produce these very, very well. All of the previous ones have been really good matches, so I'm not mad about it. But I did like the reveal of Io being the last member. We knew it was going to happen, but I liked when she came out and helped become the equalizer to make sure Shotzi won it. Listen, man, they're giving a lot to Shotzi, man. If she ain't next, then I don't know who is, man.
If she's not next,
true.
then doing something wrong because she's on all the promotion. She's constantly featured on the show.
Yeah, she's someone who like immediately does stand out. Like just from looking at her, you're just like, wow, who's that? That's kind of when you look at Shotzi Blackheart. So you're like, you know, I think even from the first moments that we've seen her on NXT, she had like that mini feud with Shayna before Shayna kind of dipped off. But I think they've seen stuff in her for quite some time, and now this is the time that they're acting on it. So with War Games coming up, we could probably see some big moments from her coming up.
She's another one that I'm afraid of that has such a great upside, and I think that like Regal and Triple H and HBK and Matt Bloom, they all get it with her. But when she goes to the main roster, I am so afraid. And usually I don't say this about anyone. I didn't even say this about like Keith Lee and all those other, like, I'm afraid for Shotzi on the main roster because I'm just afraid they won't get it. Like, and also like that little ass tank that only works in that arena. You know, it only works in Full Sail and in the CWC. Like, imagine that little ass tank in the Thunderdome. it's not working. So that's already a piece of her aura that's gone, you know?
Are you saying that they should just like upgrade to like a war jeep of some sort with like a Gatling gun on the top?
But are they gonna invest that much money? Like Triple H and them have invested a lot of money into her, making her the host of Halloween Havoc, multiple outfit changes, putting her on a lot of the press, stuff like that, like making these vignettes for her, which have been amazing for War Games.
Yeah,
I just don't know that like that's one that I'm like, okay, let her stay there for a little bit longer, let her actually get the title, and then have a run with it, and then see where she goes on the main roster.
I think. And this is going to be like a random thing to say. Main roster people, if you have a ton of tattoos, I feel like they just don't get you on the main roster.
Yep.
Like they're just like, maybe you could be like Ruby Riot's partner or something along those lines.
I see that. I see that.
I just, because they just don't seem to get that kind of like, I don't want to say alternative lifestyle, but it's just something that they just don't get with those. They're more so of the clean cut, all American, no tattoos, muscled, or in the case of women, also muscled, but blonde and, et cetera, et cetera. So they kind of push towards that. But I think now I'm hoping, considering the bunch of people they have on the main roster, that they're now accustomed to a little bit of different flavors, but I'm pretty sure she's going to have a tough time, at least when she begins on the main roster.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's just now that Ruby's starting to take off in a small way, like and she's been there for years.
I wouldn't even call it taking off. It's like
she's winning some things. She wins sometimes.
She's been in the same spot for like 2 years, like as Liv's partner or Sarah's partner or something for like 2 years. Like they just don't get it, but they will one day. They will.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Meelz. But I mean, one thing I can say is that she don't got a Liv or a Sarah going into the main roster. So that's one thing she got for her. But
don't have to carry nobody.
Listen, not yet. Listen, wait for it.
We'll see. Let's talk about two of these video packages. The Undisputed Era video package. I thought that was really nice, really hammering home to, I guess, if you didn't get it before, Undisputed Era babyfaces going into this War Games match.
But I think bigger than just them being babyfaces is the fact that they're family. And I think that was like, they kind of positioned it as kind of like the Godfather, like mafioso type thing, which was weird. But I think more than anything, really proved that these guys know each other, they love each other, and they have each other's backs. And I did like it. I think they're tremendous babyfaces. Like it is a breath of fresh air to have them in this role, but also have them kind of like acknowledging how they got to this point. Like I do like that they're saying like, they haven't always been like everyone's favorites, but they've always been the best. And I really like that, the vignette kind of showcasing that.
They should have done like a playoff of like Four Brothers or The Wood or something like that.
Who's the black brother? Who's the black brother?
Kyle.
Oh God.
Kyle.
Or
is it Hughley?
Or is it Roderick Strong because he listened to Nipsey Hussle?
Oh, that's true. Oh my God.
Take your pick.
I wish I could find that clip because I felt like I saw it in a dream now.
Oh my
It's
God.
a fever dream.
Yeah, it's just like Nipsey, and I just remember everyone saying, "Oh yeah," and I was just like, "Did I dream this, or is it real?"
No way,
No,
we
but
both had the same dream, so it had to be real, right?
oh my god, no, but I thought all those the video packages, even the one they did with the women earlier, and kind of like Shotzi's like, I guess mechanic shop or wherever the hell she's at. I thought all of those were tremendous, and kind of like telling stories in a different way than standard like backstage. They all just happen to be standing around each other, just
Yeah.
talking when the camera starts rolling. It felt more authentic. It felt more real. It felt even the Xia Li and Bo. Oh my god, what the hell was that?
That is
What do we think it is?
that's some messing right there. They own something with that. Like I'm into it, and the thing is, like there's such a lack of on both shows. There is a lack of intrigue. You know, like there is like I think the biggest thing that it was intriguing people in AEW is what's Sting gonna do. But with this, you have three characters, or really two characters that were not heavily featured and didn't really have a really heavy story, but they're doing a months long storyline with them. And I'm intrigued to see where they go with this. And the fact that like Bo has been there for years, you know, and they're finally doing something with him. So I want to see what he's capable of doing.
He hasn't been seen since that breakout tournament that Jordan Miles won.
Yep. And he lost like the first round.
That's okay. That's okay. Not the shit on him. That's okay.
It's not hard to see that it's Karen Q, right? That's coming back. She had a knee injury about a year and a half ago. It looks to be that's who's coming back.
Okay.
There isn't anyone else I could think of that's signed right now that could be.
Yeah. There is another Japanese talent that I remember them signing, but I don't know if they can get him over here.
Oh, Suri. You're talking about Suri. It's
yeah.
probably not her unless they flew her to Mexico in the last couple of months.
Connected flight.
Yep.
But yeah, if it's Karen Q, then that's fine. I definitely think that the women's division in NXT needs more, because how much longer can Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro get squashed?
But no, I don't know. You sure they need more? The War Games match alone is 3 to 4 different storylines that they've built up over the past 3 to 4 months. Like, I think if anything, they do need a lower card. And that's where people like Casey do fit.
I definitely think that they need a lower card, but I definitely think after War Games, a lot of things might just get broken off.
That's true.
I don't see. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish up.
I don't see what Ember Moon and Toni Storm are doing after this. I don't see what Dakota Kai is doing after this. I guess Candice LeRae could still be around, but I'm just not sure.
I just think it's general, and this is what I was going to say. I just think it's because we've seen a lot of these people already, and it kind of feels like, and it's what you spoke to before, of kind of like the lack of call-ups. Like we probably had like the least amount of call-ups this year, just because NXT is producing a show. They want kind of like a cast. They want to feature these people. Things may be doing well with these people, et cetera, et cetera. It's less of a development brand now, which is why Triple H, I know he was talking about maybe getting a second show, because it's less of a developmental brand now than it's ever been before. Now it's like an actual kind of official brand. However, I think it's because we've seen a lot of these women before. Even and I look at even the Toni Storm thing, right? Like the Toni Storm turning heel thing, which happened last week. The only reason I'm not jazzed about it, because I think we've seen Toni Storm so much already. Even if she wasn't featured in NXT, she just kind of felt like she's been around for a while anyway. And maybe she should be main roster bound or something along those lines. And the same with Ember Moon, who's been around for a while. Rhea Ripley's been around for a while. Candice LeRae has been around for a while. We've reached this kind of class, and this is kind of like that echelon of, this is the peak moment of this class of NXT women that we've had thus far. I mean, I would equate it to that era where we had a Ricochet, Aleister Black, Dream, Gargano, Ciampa, Adam Cole, and kind of creating a new scene completely different from that 2014 Sami Zayn, Nakamura, Joe, Finn type of thing. It's a whole new scene. But I think we've reached kind of a point where we're like, okay, we've seen kind of a lot, and now you kind of want opportunity for, or at least you want some new faces. But it's probably possible this is the best that they've got. I think these 8 women are the best that NXT has got. They're really putting them at the forefront, period.
It's reminding me of that. Remember that class of the Alistair, Gargano, Ciampa, Dream, Ricochet, that class.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's really them.
And I will agree with that as well. Like, NXT kind of just needs that flush, but that would more or less hinder the brand. And the Toni Storm heel turn thing, I like it, but the last time I saw Toni Storm, Kaylee Ray had her weeping for her life.
I don't think she's ready to be a heel yet. It just didn't even seem like it was like, it didn't even seem like the build was leaning in that direction. It just kind of happened. And I feel like she's like, now she's trying to figure it out as she goes, and she's just kind of like standing around, like trying to blend in to like these heelish
other people that
women,
people that kind of have personalities, or
and who have like already
their dastardly deeds already.
All this stuff, and she's standing around like goofing and laughing and all this other stuff.
She needs a complete character redesign. That's why, and they don't have time to do that yet because they have the show. But I would expect to see her character change completely. She needs like a tagline or something like that. But like, my thing with her being heel, you end up surviving and lasting longer if you are a successful heel. Like, look at Bayley and how she's been able to stretch this out for almost 2 years. Like, you end up being better if you can pull the heel turn off. Dakota Kai's lasted a lot longer, I think, as a heel than she would have if she was a face. I'm sorry, I just think that she just wouldn't have fallen under the pressure of trying to match up to a Tegan Nox or a Io Shirai or Rhea Ripley. Like, there wouldn't have been room for her there because those are really big personalities, and she had to create her own personality to match it. With Toni, it's right there for her. Why doesn't she just play the cocky rock star? Why doesn't she just, you know what I'm saying? Like, that type of character is there for her. She just has to be comfortable enough to do it.
If she would have been
wild.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If she would have been like Miz type, really cocky asshole, I think that would have worked really well.
Or just a crazy badass that just breaks people's bones. That would be dope too.
I think it should have been.
That's too much.
It should have been Ember Moon, to be honest with me. That's how I feel. I feel like it should have been Ember Moon as opposed to Toni Storm, because I feel like she has a lot more. She has a lot more beef with everything that's going on. She's entering a scene. She doesn't think it's like an opportunity. How am I going to get that back to the top? Well, the only way back to the top is to step on a couple people at this point, and I'm smart enough to know that at this point. The Toni Storm thing, I think she has still, especially in NXT, it's kind of like this new journey, even though she kind of feels like we've seen her before, but I probably would have gone with Ember Moon, but still.
Oh, okay. And then ending off the NXT show with these quick hits, not really quick, but Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher will be having a match at War Games.
Damn it.
What does this do for either of them?
Just for Thatcher. I think it's meant to put Thatcher on an NXT takeover card and give him some time, give him some reps, hopefully put him in the ring with someone who has a high profile, who you could wrestle against and raise his profile. That's if he wins anyway.
I think they've done a lot of, like, I don't want to say, buried or like damage or whatever, but
it's been questionable booking. I'll agree. Yeah. He's lost in times where I feel like he shouldn't have lost.
His biggest win against Riddle, which was like 5 months ago in the fight pit. Yeah. So it was just like, now he has to like kind of do something again, and then just losing those like a lot of consecutive matches, like losing to Finn. And then being just triple threat qualifier for the North American title and then losing that.
They're giving him this character and they're giving him this stage and they're giving him this moment, and it doesn't even feel like they're legitimately capitalizing off of it. It feels more so like they're, it just feels kind of wrong in a sense of like, okay, you're you're building this up. You're giving him characters. You're giving him time. He's speaking, and which is all that people want on the show. It's very precious time on NXT for a 2-hour show with a bunch of talent that's sitting backstage who want that time. So they're giving him time. It just doesn't feel like they're capitalizing on the character themselves. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah. This should be Thatcher kind of breaking out and actually making something of this Thatcher school that he's been trying to build up for. Because I don't think there's anything technically wrong with anything that they've been doing pushing him. I think that it's different. I think that it's cool. I think that more than anything, he's talked and done promos a lot more than I ever thought he would. Because that has just not been his character in the indies. And I think that he's adapted really, really well to that. And I think he's actually crafted his own character out of that. But where do you go from here? Like we saw Malcolm Bivens in the background of a vignette for him. So it's like, is that someone who comes in and acts as a recruiter for him? Is that someone who comes in and acts as a mouthpiece? Because, I heard one day, a couple of days ago, from a very trusted source that Bivens was supposed to be with Thatcher, just like they were in Catchpoint. Why don't they just do that? I think that would help Thatcher out. I think Ciampa is in the same Gargano role. Gargano is great at putting other guys in really good positions. I think Ciampa should be continuing to do that. He should not be beating any of these new guys. So I would love, and this is more like a prediction, but like this should be for Thatcher's benefit.
Yes. Okay. I agree. This definitely should be for Thatcher's benefit. And with Finn kind of being active, big quotations around active.
He's not active.
That boy hurt. That boy hurt.
Yeah, that boy hurt like a motherfucker.
I don't see him back till next year. I don't see him back till the top of next year. Like the very, very tippy top, but like the top. He's working out, which is cool, but he's still hurt.
But with that said, it's just Kushida is like so just kind of standing around and having matches. Karrion Kross is eminent, and then Thatcher is going to get put on this platform, and if it's not going for the NXT title, then he's going to end up killing Leon Ruff. But just like there's a logjam to the NXT title, so like even if Thatcher wins here, there's still going to be just him kind of just standing around for a little bit until Finn's back.
Well, I mean, you don't need a belt. He doesn't need to be in that picture in order to be successful. I mean, you look at you look at like Kushida, you look at a lot of other people there that aren't necessarily factored in right now. Like you don't need to be in the title contention, but I do think that Thatcher should at least win like the United States title. But there's so many people on that roster that I want to win that title that I'm just not sure.
Yeah, he at least needs a trajectory, I think. Something that we're building towards. I mean, even if it's like, okay, he's beating up people on the roster, but like what is the result? Does he get a championship shot eventually? Do you find him as a contender in the future for that?
Like what's the goal in the end of all this? And that's
I'm
thinking very far ahead.
and some things don't have like immediate goals. It's like every gimmick isn't like the goal was to be world champion. That's not typically it. But at least you want to be able to tell a story and have some trajectory, as opposed to like having this gimmick that's doing this thing every week that means nothing, and people eventually falling out of it. And I think people will fall out of the Thatcher gimmick, especially if he's not winning. Like, what are you telling me? What are you teaching me all these moves and you can't even win a goddamn match? Like, get out of my face. That's how people are gonna legit feel. So yeah.
So with that said, we're going to go into War Games predictions. Hopefully, Thatcher can get his win over Ciampa. Are we all in agreement on that?
Thatcher should win this match.
Okay.
Thatcher should win this match, absolutely.
All right, and then the next match we have Dexter Lumis versus Cameron Grimes in a strap match.
Ooh, straps out.
All right.
Give Cameron his damn win back, man. He's done a lot with such silly, ridiculous stuff, and he's made it enjoyable. He's so into this character. I really enjoy Cameron Grimes, but take this guy to the moon. I think he should win this match.
Okay. Meelz?
I'm going for Dexter Lumis. I just feel like he's back. Strap match. I think it's going to be, you're going to give Cameron Grimes a lot. At the end of the day, Dexter Lumis pulls out a win, and I think is this his first takeover match?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I think is it both of them? No, I think
Unless you
Cameron
want to count the
Grimes
war,
ladder match.
unless you want to count Halloween Havoc. Was Halloween Havoc? That was
No,
just
that
on a
wasn't a
Wednesday, right?
takeover.
Nah.
That wasn't a
Okay.
takeover.
Nah,
Just a
that
Wednesday.
wasn't a takeover. So Dexter Loomis, you got the stage to really kind of show what you're made out of. Oh yeah, because Dexter Loomis would just like randomly show up in takeover matches.
Yeah, he showed up in the title match.
Yeah. So here's your opportunity. Show people what you're made of. That's kind of what I want to see. I think he's gonna win though.
I am going to go with Cameron Grimes. I know I am Loomis Hive, but for people I think that genuinely don't need a title, it is Dexter Loomis.
Yes, I think that Loomis can take L's and not be hurt or harmed badly by it.
And we seen it when he beat Roderick Strong, and nothing really like came out of that. What else?
I mean, he had Thatcher matches where he lost.
The Thatcher match where he lost. Like, I don't think it truly hurts his character, just for the sole fact that I'm very invested. Like, I enjoy everything that he does. But I'm gonna go with Cameron Grimes on this one. Whatever, shenanigans. It doesn't matter, but I think he'll get the win. Next match for the North American Championship, we have the champion Leon Ruff, Johnny Gargano versus Damian Priest.
Look, man, this is one of the.
I like the story a lot, but
yeah, it's one of my favorite stories on NXT. I love and just because it's different. We've never seen, a champion of that stature get one of the big, belts. I don't think they've given that to anyone on any show like that.
Yeah.
But
I don't think NXT has had like underdogs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everyone who's come up, I guess, has belonged in a certain way. It's like, oh, you earned your spot. You were in the PC, lifting weights for 4 years. Now you're up on the main roster, or you're up in NXT, or you did something around the world and you did some amazing shit, and now you're in NXT. But it hasn't really been the feel of an underdog. His
closest parallel is probably one of the guys he's in the match with, and that's Gargano. Like, he and Gargano were the ultimate underdogs. Gargano at one point was. Leon Ruff is now. That's why I think it's so great. It's a great parallel to have both of these guys in there. Gargano being the ring general here, the two guys that, Damian, he's made look great over the past couple months. Yeah. And Leon Ruff, he's continuing to make look great and look legitimate, but Leon Ruff trying to prove something himself. I really like the dynamic here. However, I just want to see Leon with his belt for a couple more weeks. So I think he's going to win.
Weeks? Damn, not a month-long reign to make it legitimate.
I mean, it'll be a month if he gets a couple weeks. I mean, he won't lose it on TV. I hope, but I honestly
think he will lose it on TV.
You think so?
I think he'll.
I 100% think
he'll probably lose it on TV, but probably for one of the special NXT things that they'll probably do towards the end of the year, similar to Dynamite's Winter is Coming or whatever.
I think this triple threat match is going to be good because it's able to he doesn't have to really deliver the main offense or anything like that. He doesn't really have to break out of his underdog role in this match. I think once you get to a one-on-one match, and probably not with Johnny Gargano because they're kind of the same size, but if he gets in a one-on-one match with Damian Priest, it'd still be there's one or two things could happen. Yeah, it could either be some chicanery that happens that messes him up, or Damian Priest kicks the shit out of him. And either one is plausible for me. I think the winner of this match is probably going to be Leon Ruff by some very crafty finish.
He's gonna fall on somebody or something. It's gonna be something really, really funny.
It's gonna be the 2K finish. Somebody gets hit with somebody else's finisher, get the fuck out the ring, and then you pin the person.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Cool with that.
The mark finish. I'm gonna go with Leon Ruff as well. And so, 2 War Games matches. I don't know how they're gonna fit the 2 rings in there. I'm sure it's gonna look a little funny.
I don't know why are people worried? Okay, I've been to the PC. I've been to the PC. No, hold on. I've been to the PC. Okay, there is enough room. The PC can hold.
Have you been to the CWC though?
It's the same fucking place. So that place can hold 10, 15 rings in it. So if it's just putting the actual, and the ceilings are high, like it would be at a arena. So you can fit all of that there. What they might do is with the same thing that they do when they do War Games in actual arenas, they'll push the fans back a little bit, and that's probably
Yeah.
what's going to happen. So like it can fit. Full Sail, hell no. There isn't much with Full Sail that you can actually move because it's kind of just like set there, and the room is what it is. You can't expand that room. With the CWC/PC, you have a way bigger area of doing this set. So I absolutely, you guys are gonna see it. It's gonna look cool. That's all I'll say.
I bet you're saying like why are people thinking of how they're gonna fit 2 rings as if we've all been to the PC as well?
Because you've seen the PC. Like the PC is not small.
The PC. I don't know if it could be a different floor. I don't know. I've never been to the PC.
You've seen Ciampa. You have seen Ciampa and Gargano fight all the way through that. So imagine if you take the crowd out. Imagine if you take the crowd out of that and you push it back, because the thing is, they haven't really changed much of it.
I'm sure you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but people, I don't know if people can actually see and visualize this. I don't looking at something from a set standpoint and looking at something from a TV standpoint completely different. People can normally, I don't think people can like see it. I'm sure it'll work for sure. I mean, they're gonna have to make it work.
Yeah.
They're doing the work.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna have to make it work.
I'm like, what the fuck? Maybe
I'm just
do it on
ready.
The stage. I don't know. Damn.
I'm just ready for the arena to look incredibly smaller because there's 2 rings in there. Like just taking up a lot of space.
It looks smaller in the arena when they actually do the War Games matches anyway.
How come they've never done
seats?
How come they've never done the Ready to Rumble ass match where there's like different levels of cages and like
Tony Khan was gonna do that with the Blood and Guts. I thought that's what it was gonna look like.
Oh really?
I thought it was just gonna be outright. I thought it was just gonna be outright War Games. But let's talk about the 2 War Games matches.
We need that. I'll say sidebar. We need that match. But yes, let's talk about the War Games match.
We have the Undisputed Era versus Pete Dunne and the Dorks. Who we got winning?
This storyline hasn't been long enough for the Undisputed Era to win this. In my opinion, I think they're gonna lose, because what better to kind of establish these guys who sorely need this big win,
yes,
than to have them be Undisputed Era. And plus, the Undisputed Era faces they lose these matches all the time anyway. So like they've only won one of these, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, they've been in every year and only won one. It's fine if they lose. They're not hurt. If they did win, I don't think it would be a huge mistake. I think it would be cool because they do need their revenge. But I think that if you want this feud to continue, then that's what you would do. But the thing about them losing this match is that there's a whole bunch of tag teams that would really like to face Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch right now. and having Undisputed Era lose this means that they're going to be tied up with them for the foreseeable future.
Man, tell them get their own War Games match then. This is where big boys play. Come on.
Come on, man. Everrise rules. That was the best shit I've seen.
Everrise didn't strike me as Canadian at all.
I thought they were Australian.
I thought they were some Jersey goofs. It was like
I really thought they were
an outer shaper version of Best Friends, but or like Bucks or something. I'm going to go with, I guess, Pat McAfee's group. I don't see. Here's the thing: War Games match, I'm not a fan of. I'm just not.
What?
I'm not a fan. The waiting around, I'm not a fan of. I know it's supposed to build like intrigue and stuff like that, but it's the same thing every match. I've seen 1 or 2 War Games matches. You've seen them for the most part, them all. Like the intrigue, the whole like, oh my god, I can't wait for Adam Cole to come and clean house. Like it ends up being like 15 to 20 minutes of them beating somebody's ass. And then it's even. And then there's 20 more minutes of people jumping off of stuff. Do you remember what's his face almost died?
I don't like
remember what's his face almost died in that match? What's his name?
Adam Cole?
No,
or Alexander Wolf?
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, when he got his head split open?
Yeah, good lord. But it's really just a lot of waiting, and it's a long time. The only one I found somewhat interesting last year that had like, oh wow, will they be able to do it, was the last year's women's match, because it was legit 2-on-4, and I was shocked that won that.
That shit
match.
was absolutely insane. And then they had to do Survivor Series the next day.
Oh yeah, like that was wild. But my prediction for the match, yeah, Pat McAfee's group.
I'm gonna go with Undisputed Era on this one. Justin made a really, really good point with that tag division. If the Rascals isn't gonna like debut anytime soon, or if Breezango's not coming back anytime soon, if they're not gonna let Santos Escobar's group. I always forget their name.
Oh, Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah. If they're not gonna tango with Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, then like, what are they doing?
They're doing nothing. You know, like that tag division, which used to be so amazing, is now kind of like third in the ranks here, and I think
it's coming back up.
I mean,
is it?
Is it? I mean, I'll give you this. Grizzled Young Veterans immediately changes the conversation.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
But I need to see them. You know, are they going to turn? Here's the thing: like, are they going to turn these guys? Because the thing is, all the tag teams in the division are heels. All three of them are heels. Well, so who's gonna turn here?
You got Drake Maverick and Killian Dane.
All right,
turn that off.
Turn that off.
Come on, great music, great guys.
Nah, Pete Dunne did what he had to do.
I don't give a damn about Killian Dane.
And I think they're gonna get their title shot. I think they're up next. They're up next for the championship.
What I think is going to be a singles feud between Killian Dane and Pete Dunne, and Pete Dunne finishes the job.
No, they wouldn't do that. They already gave him music.
Matt Bloom, if you're hearing this. Nah, you know, that music could easily just be Drake Maverick's music.
It just
like without Dane.
It doesn't hit the same.
Hey, if Drake Maverick's still hitting the jig, it hits the same.
I don't know.
The music is the same. Honestly.
I think I like the dance more than anything. Mark really likes the music. He really loves this theme. So don't take the theme away.
Remember the last time we gassed up somebody's like NXT theme and they kind of just did nothing or was just mid the whole time? So,
Adam Rose?
Oh, I was thinking of Bobby Roode. But
there's been a lot of them.
Yo, imagine they change his music. Oh my God. Talk about cutting his knees off at the legs or whatever the fuck it's called.
But all right, we're going to possibly the main event. You know, Wikipedia just has it layered like this. Team Shotzi, which is Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon, Rhea Ripley, and Io Shirai versus Team Candice, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, and Toni Storm. Obviously, it's going to be Team Shotzi, right?
Yeah, faces win. Shotzi gets the pin. And,
Team Candice needs to win, but I think Shotzi's team is going to win. They need to win.
Candice is a loser, okay?
Candice is 100%.
Oh, let's take it. Let's take it there.
If you want to be real, it's a team full of losers, by the way, because none of them have won anything of any. Well, Toni Storm, she's the NXT UK champion,
but she's won against the people she's in the match with. So. Very.
I'm still gonna call her. I'm still gonna group her into losers. I'm sorry, Novak, but I'm still grouping her within the losers. I'm still, until she figures that heel thing out.
I think it's fantastic that when Tegan went down, they managed to find another group of faces that I think are, particularly really popular. I think that Shotzi, to me, again, I see so much in her, and I see the NXT does too. I just don't want to see her take the pin, or not take the pin, but get the pin and win, and then no title aspirations for her. Like, she has to be next up. And I know they don't want Io to drop it. I mean, anytime soon from what I'm seeing, but like, why not? Why? Let's do Shotzi Io at the first takeover of 2021, and then let's see how they can stretch this feud all the way to Mania weekend. If assuming they'll have fans there next year.
Oh man.
Hot take, just because I've never been on the show and don't get a chance to talk about a lot of stuff. Tegan Knox, not fully impressed. I'll be honest with you. I don't see it. I don't see the
skip over that. Skip over that, Meelz.
No,
I don't see the claim.
Nah. This is Meelz time. Okay.
She's got the in ring stuff, down. But like, other than that, I don't see it.
I
Got
think
a
I've
cute
been
jacket, but that's it.
I think I've been vocal about it before. I think the knee thing, even though it actually is a constant issue and we're seeing it now, but for like 3 years of, I hurt my knee a couple years ago, but I'm back.
Yeah.
Like that thing doesn't necessarily work for me. I do think she is a fantastic wrestler, but I definitely think they need to do something else.
Yeah. If they had called her up, I would have been like, so what you gonna do now? Like, what is it? Is she gonna get a vignette? Like, we getting a makeover? Like, what are we doing? Like, is she bringing the jacket up? Like, if she gets called up, like,
what's with the jacket slander?
Because that's the only thing she has. She comes out and she things the jacket, and that's it. And I'm just like,
just a Captain Marvel fan, shit like that. But
I guess, yeah.
I definitely think that if she's ready to go, do not put her back on NXT.
She is not ready to go.
Do not put her. No. When she's ready to go, do not put her back on NXT.
Oh, but she's going back.
Do not do that. And that's how she's going back. And that's how I'll end that.
Yeah, she does not. She has been ready to leave NXT for a very long time. She does not need to go back to NXT. There is nothing for her there. I know that they had her as a shoe-in to potentially win the title or to potentially be one of the top faces there. Shotzi has slid into that role. Let it be Shotzi. Even when Tegan came back the second time, she was kind of lost. She was kind of like, is she gonna leave? Is she gonna not? Like, I think she was in the same spot Rhea's in right now.
Yeah, because when she disappeared originally, it kind of seemed like Dakota Kai ran her out the territory, and then she just like Tegan Nox just comes back. And I think that's mainly because Candice LeRae just needed something. But hopefully, don't put her back on NXT. And this is where we'll get into AEW.
And you know what else you can do? You can take your ratchet, trifling ass right up off my stage and do not come back unless I send for you. Do you understand me, heifer?
Never make me watch this show again, please.
I told you weeks ago, just watch Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. You do not have to watch the full show, because I was not planning on watching the full show.
Terrible.
You did it anyway.
Terrible. Yeah, that's terrible at all. I think there are other people with feelings on this show apparently.
Oh,
what? What are you talking about?
There are other people on. I mean, all right. So boom, the show. I mean, all right. What do you want to talk about first? Let me do that because this isn't the A show.
You did all right, boom, and then back down.
Yeah, no, I did because I was getting ready to talk, and then I was like, I'm so used to being a host of something that I don't know how to be a guest. Go off.
I wanted to talk about Sting. Let's just get it out of the way.
Let's do it.
What the hell is Sting going to do for AEW in a wrestler's role?
I don't. Wait, all right. So let me look at his age first. Let me just make sure.
Okay. While you do that, Darby Allin sitting at the top of the rafters and having face paint is the only similarities he has to Sting. He is not Sting. So what they did, having Sting look at him as if he's his son? No, he's not. And if
they're not even the same stylistically,
not
like
exactly.
in ring.
So when they get that match together, that's going to be an issue because Darby Allin moves at 1,000,000 miles per hour, and Sting is going to get gassed.
I don't. Here's the thing. Here's what's I'm so confused at. They signed Sting to a multi-year deal, like multiple years. By the way, he's 61.
So you signed 61-year-old Sting to a multi-year deal, but couldn't sign Ben Carter. That's crazy.
Listen, one of them's moving the needle, and I'll tell you, it ain't that boy.
One of them can move the needle one day. It's about the future. And here's the thing. AEW, they marketed it on the future. Then they gave you the past, and then tried to tell you that it was a good thing, even though they shit on other companies for doing that. That's the issue.
Absolutely. I 100% agree, but
I don't mind. Nostalgia fuels pro wrestling. I don't mind Sting
100%.
but don't again stop selling wolf tickets and then turn around and doing something different, and then people eat it up because they've bought in to the Kool-Aid.
Right. Absolutely. I think Sting, we talked about this before we recorded. I think Sting is a notable name. I mean, you're like, oh, first time in 18 years on TNT. No one who was around watching TNT 18 years ago is still here, to be honest with you. Like, it's a new crop. Most people don't even remember a lot of WCW outside of the network.
Yeah.
It's fine. You don't have to mention 18 years since he's been on TNT.
And they did the same thing for Eric Bischoff. When he showed up and just had his little role, it was like, oh my God, he hasn't been on TNT forever. And it was just like, so the fuck what?
So who cares? WWE owns whatever the hell you were mentioning. So it's not like you can go any further than that. So I didn't get that point, but I do get the point of having Sting. Sting is a notable name. Sting is, what's wild is I don't even think that's as a feature. As a wrestler, I don't know. But even though I don't get what his role could be,
exactly.
Because if it's something as a manager, you're kind of like misusing what Sting is. What is he supposed to do?
I will choke the shit out of creative if they make Sting a manager for Darby Allin.
But that's what they do for all the other. Everyone has got an old guard. People who are modern in days wrestling, I think they're just doing this honestly.
This is the issue with AEW. Everybody feels as if they need a fucking manager, and it doesn't work. We've seen it with Nyla Rose. We're seeing it with MJF currently. We saw it with Cody. We're seeing it with
Private Party.
Private Party, Lance Archer, FTR. Stop fucking doing this.
I think it's ridiculous that you do it for all the time, and then you do it with people who people could not, honestly, I don't think give a shit about. Because at the end of the day, we're moving the needle with pro wrestling and we're moving this forward. And yes, you want to ode to the past or something like that, but they're going, first of all, they're going way back. Like they're going back to times when NWA, when people had closed circuit television, all this other stuff. You don't need to go that far back. Get someone relatively close, someone who's been active for the past 22 years. Yeah. You don't need to go all the way back. But in this Sting, I can get Sting. Sting was just a WWE fixture. Sting was a major part of WCW. Sting is Sting. People remember Sting. NWO Sting. Complex just the other day used a GIF or video of Sting the other day. Sting is known, so I get why they do it. I just don't know what we do from here. I'm pretty sure Cody's gonna want to do something. Cody's gonna want to stare down Sting.
That's happening.
Moonsault over Sting.
That's happening. Sting is gonna lose.
I Sting a dog.
Here's the thing. Cody beating Sting is gonna be like Triple H beating Sting, except like the actual.
Oh, it's gonna be worse.
Yeah, the actual reception to that is gonna be way better, and they're gonna think that Cody did it way better than Triple H did, even though it's bad to be doing it either way. You know, it's like
Sting got a bad agent. He'll take that L. I promise you.
Well, I mean, he'll take the L for the check. Sting will do anything for the check. We know that.
Wow. Okay.
but
he ain't on Cameo yet.
But the thing is that Sting's debut took away from a really important moment for the actual company that happened in the main event. Because if you look at YouTube today, you'll know what has a million views, and you'll know what's struggling right now to get half of that.
I think a lot of people need to realize that Kenny Omega is not as big as in the States as everybody think he is. But they did themselves no favor this week by trying by what they did, for sure.
But I'll be honest, they did themselves no favor for the past, how long has it been? 14 months when they put Kenny Omega in a role that he wasn't supposed to, in my opinion, shouldn't have been in. Shouldn't have been in the tag role for the past 18 months. He should have been using, or these 13 months.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked because he's great. Like he's great at what he does, but at the same time, it's like you want a pillar of this company. You want someone who you could think behind, and the fact you're doing it this late, and now it's to me, you just wasted and they're not even a tag team anymore. Like that's the weird thing about it. It's like you're gonna break them up eventually.
Adam Page is in battle royals now.
Yeah, like
getting eliminated by Matt Hardy.
What did it really do? It served as you put them as a legitimate tag team, which is fine. I guess you wanted to sell the fact, and it made great programs and it made great matches. Don't get me wrong; it's not like it was all for naught. However, Kenny Omega, at the time he left New Japan, was one of the biggest stars in wrestling. People mentioned him. I listened to all types of stupid podcasts with stupid people who mentioned him.
Wow.
And I know. Who mentioned him and was like, as someone in AEW was like, okay, he's a guy. You mentioned it when you talked about AEW. You talked about the Bucks. You talked about Chris Jericho. You talked about Kenny Omega. Not really Cody, but Cody figured his way in nonetheless.
Right.
Yeah.
And AEW was supposed to be Kenny's breakout American role.
Yeah.
That he was waiting for.
Look at him. He flirting with the ideas of facing Seth Rollins and Big E and all types of other shit because for the past 13 months, he's been wrestling around with FTR and Private Party and no offense to those guys, but that's not where Kenny should be.
And I've said this several times on this podcast. I think AEW does not work for Kenny Omega because the level of competition is low. When he had that match with Hangman Page, who I am high on, it just did not work. And even just going back into the him being like the biggest like star coming out of New Japan, the Elite just decided to not capitalize on that and try to make Hangman Page. And that did not work until like 2 years later.
It felt like they didn't want it to be that obvious that it was like the EVP is now immediately cashing in and cashing out. That's what they felt like it'd be. So I think they were very tepid on what they did initially, which I understand.
So the EVP can't do it, but Cody could do it?
Cody's a ridiculous.
Cody's different. He's different.
I think he's different. I think and that's what it is. He's a different guy compared to Kenny. Kenny is someone who loves the sport of and I'm not saying Cody doesn't love the sport of pro wrestling, but Cody learned a lot about like he's very I don't want to say bombastic attitude, but
no, I mean, be real. He learned from Dusty, Vince, and Triple H. Those are the
he has
three
a
biggest
4-minute entrance.
Those are the three people that, you know, as much as you say they hate him and he says they hates him, he took a lot of cues from those three guys.
I agree. And there's a level that he puts himself, I don't say above AEW, but there's a level that it seems like he put into himself that maybe he could be putting into other characters. Whereas I think Kenny Omega kind of like, he's cool with being the wrestler on the show and being featured on the show, but he's not it's not like Cody where he's like, he feels like he needs to be the voice, the conscience, the spirit, the fighter, everything that AEW needs to be. He wants to play every role, but he wants to be the cool guy. He wants to be the renegade. He wants to have black hair. He wants to have blonde hair. He wants to have, you know, dogs. He wants to be the fighter. He wants to be everything. He wants to be everything to the show. But you can't be everything to the show. And that's the difference between him and Kenny.
But I mean, going back to Sting, like his inclusion didn't shock me. I think that it was absolutely a big moment until people realized that he might be wrestling. I think with Edge, to me edges it out. No pun intended. Edge definitely had a bigger return to me because that's something you never thought you'd see. Sting getting a check is not surprising to me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Surprised me.
Sting getting a check does not shock me or surprise me. That's why to me it's not as cool as it could be because of the fact that there are so many people on this roster, and I see it every time I watch the show. Either for I see it on the timeline, or I'm on the War Report, or Cyrus, any of that. I see a lot of promise here. Like we're the women this week, like what?
I mean, that's going to be a constant thing that they have forever. It just is.
We do not have enough time to go into the women part of this show,
and I don't even think they focus on the women. Like I'm not seeing anything from me. Let me look at this expert thing.
Please, we do not have it.
Did he mention the women? Did anybody question him about the women?
No.
Nobody cares about the women on the AEW, and it's frustrating to me because
they main evented on that other channel. Yeah, they main evented on the other channel last night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Which comes next, where women are held in a high regard on Impact. But I guess we'll get into that. Yeah,
we'll get into that. And just to end off on a couple takes that I've seen from the Sting thing. It was just like, you guys have a problem with old people wrestling? Japan has all sorts of old people. Sting is not Miro fucking Suzuki. What are you trying to do? Last time we saw Sting, he was not able to move. That's my concern with Sting being here in wrestling.
We're also deep in COVID times, and as much as
61,
like as much as Tony and the crew can say they do testing and contact tracing, and that's great, spectacular. There is still really old people on your show that could potentially be sweating and getting hurt and all this other stuff, bleeding. People still bleed on AEW.
Just because you walked into the building without it doesn't mean you cannot leave with it. And everybody is just kind of just going for both companies, and I just feel like everybody just ignores that. Like when they had the I guess like the Stadium Stampede or whatever, where Sammy Guevara got hit with the golf cart, you can see in the background there's a million people, and AEW just said, we tested everybody though, and everybody just backed off. You telling me those people couldn't just walk out of the building without it? And people did leave with COVID, and nobody said anything. Crazy.
I mean, and this is, a concern for Sting's life, but also to me, it's really just like it's a, I hate to say it, I'm gonna say it again too. It's a WWE move, but moving on.
I don't have a problem with Sting. I'm just worried for Sting's place in AEW and for his well-being. But yes, we'll move on going into the main event, Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. I like this match. And Kenny talking about Kenny Omega matches, I will give this 3.5 stars.
It's just a bad Kenny match, I guess, right?
It's a bad Kenny match. Yeah, that's to me, that might as well be a 2. Like there's a level of quality from a Kenny Omega match, and this just seemed like it was the most plodding. And maybe it's Moxley style. Maybe these two don't work together well unless it's a death match, which they went like 50 minutes before. But to me, it felt like it was a bunch of plan the hits. Moxley didn't exactly seem very into it, other than like selling. He sold a lot for Kenny. I will say that.
Yeah.
He did a great job selling for him.
His blood didn't look real, by the way. I was like, what the hell
definitely
is that on his face? I was like, what the hell is that?
But did this seem like a match
Mumbo
that was
sauce?
like,
what's going on here?
did this seem like a match that they were trying too hard for it to be epic? Which I feel as though AEW does a lot of times.
No, and that's my issue with it. It did not feel epic to me.
Well, I think they promoted it well.
No, they did not.
I think they promoted it well.
No. Meelz? 2 weeks ago, they had a contract signing, and Jon Moxley did not show up. And then they did another contract signing last week.
I'm not saying the build. I think they promoted it well.
Yeah,
in terms of just
the
like
posters and all that.
Yeah, everything kind of building up to it, and these are two major stars at the end of the day. So I think at that point you're gonna look and be like, beyond the shitty build to it, we tuned into the match. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we knew the match was happening, and we knew it was the show and all this other stuff. I think they promoted it very, very well. In terms of what we got, I wasn't surprised at what we got, because I think Kenny Omega is still kind of working his way back into the singles role, and I don't think he's hit a complete wave as of yet.
The cleaner ain't back.
Yeah, and Moxley, he just kind of looked like over it.
Yes. He was just like there, but I mean, a lot of times Moxley's just there for me. I think that if there was anyone who is consistently overrated in ring, it's him. I think as a babyface, he's great. I think he and Drew, to me, are two of the best baby faces of the year. But as for in ring, hell no, he ain't.
It's weird as a champion for him. I think it's weird him being in the role where he is the person people are starting, going after. I think he's 100% better in the role of chasing as opposed to the champion. He did great this year. Don't get me wrong. He did great this year with what he was given and all this other stuff. I'm giving him a passing grade. He was the stars, and compared to, I think when you look at the magnitude of the star that Jon Moxley is compared to the opponents that he faced MJF, he faced Eddie Kingston, he faced Brody Lee, he faced a lot of people who I don't think were at the caliber of his level. That's why I say this match was promotable, because it felt like a match that was actually of his caliber. And that's, no slight to everybody else, but it's just different when you hit Kenny Omega, who has the pedigree and who has everything kind of going back and building up. It's just different. This is a championship caliber worth match.
Bro, when they put the chair, I speak from it. When they put the damn chairs in the ring, I was like, y'all trying way too hard for this to be epic.
That is the fucking like GCW American indie thing. That is it is so stupid. It is so dumb. Just stand up and hit each other.
No, be too tired, brother. Chairs.
At least do the bullshit where you're like, where y'all both kneeling and hitting each other. Just do that.
Yeah, kneeling is better.
I was very high on the match until I saw those two chairs come out. And there was a lot of outside brawling in the picture-in-picture. I understand, because it's a commercial break. You don't want to do anything like fantastical.
They got to figure out them pictures-in-pictures, bro. They be going to picture-in-picture out of nowhere, bro.
These commercial breaks were really killing this match. Like,
the commercial breaks for the tag team match, the Darby Allin versus Cody match, where they rung the bell, and in 10 seconds it was like, we gotta go to break. Like, what the fuck?
Well, they gotta watch that.
Kenny Omega and John Moxley came out during their entrance, and then they went into a picture-in-picture, or like they went to a commercial break right after.
Yeah, picture-in-picture cuts the momentum of the match. Yeah.
Really does. And
but we already knew that in this match we were waiting for the fuckery, because as soon as we saw Cyrus the Virus himself to show up, I was like, oh yeah, I know where this is going.
Yeah. As far as more just like on the in-ring stuff, how did you feel about it? Because I definitely have my thoughts.
I'm gonna watch it again. I'm just gonna give it a second chance.
It's braver than I.
Because I was bouncing between two things, and I wasn't really like invested in it. And the picture-in-picture, once again, always does me in. But because it makes me feel like I should just turn to another channel.
I want to watch it. I want to watch the Fightful version that just doesn't have the commercial breaks.
Yeah, something.
The Fight TV. Oh, I keep saying Fightful.
I wasn't high on this one. I'm not gonna lie. I was more like,
you're a Kenny stan, yes.
And I'm a Kenny stan, and I was like, I even said it, like, he don't got it no more, like that explosiveness. Like, and maybe this is his new character, but we've seen him as a heel. But it's like they sure picked a hell of a time to give this guy a character of a shit heel.
And he's injured.
And he's injured, yeah. So it's like they picked a hell of a time again to make him this character where it's like all we want is for him to have good. Like AJ Styles comes in. And they let him have a bunch of good matches, and they gave him a stupid Pitbull nickname, but they let him have great matches the whole year. They didn't, and then they built the story later with him. With Kenny, they've done it ass backwards, and it's like we're gonna let you do. Actually, no, I think they've done it worse.
Yeah, I think they did it ass backwards because they left a lot in the air of, is Kenny Omega still good? And that's not something you want to do with legitimately your biggest star going into it.
People will turn the channel.
I saw CRS on Twitter. He was just like, why did it just feel like Kenny Omega was just doing all of his just mashing his signature? Wasn't that always Kenny Omega matches? Why is it different now? Maybe because it just doesn't truly work for us anymore. I think Kenny Omega definitely needs to grow as a performer, and people are just saying, we need the cleaner back. Maybe we need actually something different.
No one on the roster can give us that. I'm sorry. Nobody on that AEW roster.
The level of competition is too low.
Yeah, no one's going to give you that. I'm sorry, as much as people don't want to hear this, that competition's in New Japan. That competition is in other places. That competition is in the people that he said he wanted to work with. In WWE, it is there with the Seth Rollins. It is these are people that will make him come out of it. I said on the A show, I would love to see Omega versus Braun Strowman. I would love to see Omega versus Corbin. That would be something where he'd have to work differently against someone where that won't work with. There are no types of big time personalities like that. And the guy that he faced in Moxley, that was the closest that he's done so far to doing that.
And I just don't think it truly just meshed well. uh, I'm just gonna lay the casket on Kenny Omega, and for the
Don't do it yet. He's the champion.
Wow.
He's the champion. Don't do it yet. He's the champion.
All right,
he's here at least.
I'll schedule a viewing, and when he has the rematch against Moxley when he's not injured, if he's not injured and he's still moving, well, if he's still not impressing me, then it's time to just lay it down.
Give him some time. He's the champion. There's new extracurricular events that immediately appeared afterwards.
But Meelz, after he's finished with Moxley, who the hell is there? MJF? I don't want to see that shit.
I mean, you look towards what they did after the match, where he ran off with what's his face?
Meelz, I am not watching Impact. I am not watching Impact.
I mean, we don't have to watch it. But
what if Kenny ends up taking the stipulation from the Cody thing and challenges Cody?
I don't think we can get there.
Oh man, that'd be crazy. Okay, but the ending of the match, we had Don Callis coming in, distracting the ref. Kenny hits Moxley with the mic, knees him like 18 times.
There's multiple distractions going on here where Kenny Omega is being tended to by 8 refs, no medical staff, and he gets back into the ring, and then just in rapid succession, a lot of fuckery. And yes, Don Callis comes with the mic. Moxley hits him. The mic flies. Omega hits Moxley with the mic. Hits the one-winged angel. He is your champion. Let's get the hell out of here.
Why? Why are they running? He's
out.
I was confused.
Yeah, he's out cold.
I was like, why is he running to Impact, by the way? I was like, why is he walk briskly? It's not going nowhere.
I fully expected like the Bucks to come out, do a congratulations sort of thing, or at least like confront him backstage. Hangman Page at least be in the background. Just something more. It seems like Kenny Omega is starting to distance himself from.
It was part of him. I think it was part of him. Oh, sorry. Finish your point.
He's just like separating himself from the quote-unquote elite, because now Hangman Page is doing stuff with Dark Order. The Bucks are the Bucks. Cody is in his own world, and now Kenny Omega is with Don Callis. So
I think
they're all branching out.
What they did at the end, I mean, the AEW Impact merger is definitely something that's a conversation piece, because I think we haven't seen a collaboration between, a very deep collaboration between 2 American companies like that, and it's making people look at the Impact roster, which is something new that I think people can cap all they want on Twitter about how this is great and Impact's been doing great stuff, but I'm pretty sure you have to watch Impact because I've seen they've had pay-per-views and you would act like still football tweets. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. You don't have to cap about people thinking with Impact, but it at least makes people look at both their rosters and be like, okay, wow.
But I already know the Impact roster, so I'm not going to look any more deep into it.
It would have been nice if they brought someone from Impact over to AEW.
Here's my thing: Impact and AEW is kind of like, you see like on Instagram, you see those like those Instagram models. They look real fine, and they're like, damn, like she's super fine. There's one in particular, like it's just like, yo, she's beautiful. Then they show their boyfriend off, and it's like, oh, unfollow. He looks like motherfucking Shia LaBeouf from goddamn.
Oh, she likes
9.
Oh man, she like crackers. Damn. Well,
wow. So
time to turn it off.
I think that putting AEW next to Impact does not make AEW look better. I think
Impact.
It makes Impact look like a big time when it's not.
I don't.
AEW look like C-rate.
I think it jogs the fantasy of wrestling fans and makes something that previously they thought were like dream match. I won't say dream matches. Dream matches is a stretch.
Just
fantasy matches. In terms of something, and it brings it to some sort of real, thing where you can actually like, okay, we can picture these matches. You can picture Anderson and Gallows has been wanting to get to AEW for a long time, and this is probably the way they're going to get there, and probably going to stick around and be like, yo, do we have to? How long are these contracts? But oh, y'all got chairs around here. That's cool.
Oh, damn,
y'all got chairs. Where we from?
Okay,
people. Damn,
but
other people.
With the collaboration conversation that has been going around on Twitter, it's, oh man, we're seeing all these companies work together. Like, that's so great. And then, like, we all know how people are feeling. They want WWE to collaborate with people. That's all it is. Because let a talent not even like a talent merger, let like a talent exchange or a one-off happen in the WWE anytime soon. Doesn't matter. Anybody from Japan or anybody from Mexico to fucking Japan, instantly overshadowing this.
Yeah, but I don't think WWE would ever do that because they have like 400 wrestlers. Like, they have 3 brands, and then 205 Live, and then NXT UK, and then if they do NXT Japan or something like that, they've got so much. They don't need to do that.
I know Nakamura legitimately sign, but if they wanted to like bring somebody over for whatever fucking reason, I definitely think that slot should be given to Timothy Thatcher.
Listen, man. let's talk within reality here.
Yeah.
Sami Callihan ain't moving the fucking needle for no AEW. And if he shows up on their weekly TV show, they've done something wrong. They've done something seriously wrong. There is no one on Impact that could potentially, like, you're running into the same type of talent on both shows, other than the top of the card. The top of the card at Impact, no disrespect, Rich Swann, like a lot of people like that. They do reality show, Dream House, like reality house skits on Impact. It's just 2 different worlds. AEW positions itself as a semi-serious, like kind of like Friends.
Sports.
Yeah, like it's super weird. Like, but I think it's weird. And then putting Kenny there does not make Kenny look like a big deal. It makes Kenny look like he went to the projects.
Well,
especially when he shows up to Impact and there's nobody there clapping.
Yeah. Well, listen, I agree. This isn't foreign that they've done before. They've done plenty of collaborations with NWA, but I just think this is another thing that they're doing. Bolster kind of the matches that they could have, really decide. I think they've made a concerted effort. How can we get this past the 1 million mark? Like, actively. And sure, I don't know if Impact is the way to go, but I'm sure it can help. It at least starts the conversations between their fan base and their wrestling fans and people who are watching wrestling on Wednesdays to be like, oh, where are they doing TNA thing on it? Let me check over there. Let me at least make it much more of a priority than NXT. But at any time, NXT could decide, oh, let's bring some Raw and SmackDown people. Let's have them do Wednesday nights.
And that's when people start doing they're cheating again or whatever BS that they were doing.
Along those lines. I'm not sure if they'll ever do it, but it is what it is. But
I think that's it. That's it for us. It was nice sharing rebounding thoughts with people. I know I've been doing the show alone. but
I like your manifesto type stuff, and like you're like, I hate like it's like you're like screaming to the void. I love hearing the Cyrus deep thoughts on the War Report, because it truly does sound like you were spreading the gospel, or whatever you want to call it.
I'm about to add some church music into the next episode.
But thank you for having me. And thank you for finally, for pressing Meelz, or for Meelz pressing you.
Absolutely.
I told you. I'm sorry AEW Creative is not doing anything with Miro. I'm sorry. I should have thought. I honestly thought that they were going to do something with him. I just didn't foresee it taking so long.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's better. Honestly, it might be better this way. It might be better this way.
Now that the challenge is back.
No. It might be better this way because we've seen what they do when they rush people into things. The Brody Lees, et cetera, and kind of like, okay, well now where are they? especially if I don't think they wanted Miro in like the sea of challengers of Moxley and just like another victim.
And that's why he should be that's why he should be taking it from Darby Allin. But that is a different conversation. We'll start wrapping this up. You can follow us on Twitter at the A Show RNC, also RNC Radio Live. You can follow Meelz on Meelz TV, Justin at OG Johnny 5, me at H_visibility. We have shows like The A Show that you can listen to and see why Meelz is here. Not to be rude, but
you won't see him on this show for another like 12 weeks. So
just know when you're watching AEW and then you see Miro win something, you can expect to see Meelz here. We should be doing a spot callers soon. Hopefully. You could be expecting a G show eventually. New name pending. We have the Rewriters Room talking about Becky Lynch, a very interesting conversation with Armand and gang. We have the Black Variant, which I will be listening to after this with X and Van Rid. Late fees? I haven't had it. There's a late fees, right? I haven't had a chance.
Yeah, there was a late fees. You can keep it to our channel. To our channel. Yeah.
That is it from us. Listen to our playlist. Enjoy the rest of your 2020. I need to go study for finals.